All right, welcome. We are live. Happy Sunday. I am trying out a different microphone in hopes to not have the echo. So let me see. I wanted to check and make sure that it's working on my channel. If you are listening live, thank you so much for being here. Let me know you're here. Let me know you can hear me and see me by posting in the chat. I do see that we have a few people here, so let me. Okay, it is working, so that's wonderful. All right, guys, welcome. Thank you so much for being here with me this Sunday. If you are watching a replay of this, you can still post in the comments and I will get your comment and I can respond to you. So if you have a question or a comment about what we're talking, the content we're talking about today or something else with your pets, go ahead and let me know by posting either in the chat or in the comment section, depending on if you are here. If you're here live, thank you so much. Today we are talking about the one thing ruining your loose leash walking. And loose leash walking is wonderful. It's definitely what we all want to have with our dogs when we're walking. But I do want to say that unstructured walks have a lot of value as well, especially for your dogs, because your house is their whole world. So anytime they get out is really wonderful. So being able to let them smell, if there are safe areas that you can let your dog off leash, we now have a huge backyard, which is wonderful, and it is fenced in. So if there are safe areas you can let your dog off leash, that's great too. But loose leash walking is also something really important that we should and need to work with our dogs. And what's really interesting about dogs, and that a lot of people don't really understand, is that we walk at a really, really slow pace. Compared to dogs. Dogs naturally walk much faster than humans naturally walk. So we're really asking a lot of our dogs to get them to slow down to our speed. Not saying they can't do it, they can, but it's a lot to ask, and it is something that we have to work with and work towards with our dogs. So I also want to, really quickly before we get too far into the video, let you know that I do have the one thing that we're talking about today, but I also have a bonus thing. So I definitely want you to stick around for that, because the bonus, I think, is just as important as the one thing, the one big thing we're going to be talking about today. Also, I do hope you check out the links in the description. The very first link is to Patreon. The Patreon family is amazing. I share lots of extra content over there. It's a lot more personal, one-on-one. It's much more of a family. I really hope you check it out. There are 4 different tiers for me to choose from, so I know you're going to find the one that works best for you. Also, the next link in the description is to my link tree, and that is probably the most important link in the description, because you can get to Patreon. You can also get to the new podcast. Yay, we have just launched a new podcast. It is live. It is going out to all the podcast places. So regardless of where you get your podcast from, it will soon be there if it's not already there. So definitely check that out, as well as tons of other links to online training. And we're actually going to talk a little bit more about some of the online training today. So with that in mind, let's get going. And again, happy Sunday. Happy August. I think okay, so last Sunday was actually August 1st, so this is the second live video in August, but I do see some people here with us, so definitely post in the chat and let me know you're here. I would love to know more about you and your pets, and why you clicked on this video this morning. So here's the one thing. Let's get right into it. Well, now let's get into the one thing. If I have to pick just one thing that is potentially ruining your dog's ability to walk on a loose leash, it would be that you are not starting your training in the house. So many people don't realize that outside there are so many distractions. It is incredibly difficult to start training on anything outside of your house. So this actually is true of anything really that we're teaching our dogs. We want to start in the most comfortable environment possible for your dog. We want to start with the least distractions possible, and generally speaking, in your home is that place that is the most comfortable for your dog. They are used to everything going on in your home already, so there aren't a ton of distractions, or distractions that would like really get your dog's attention like there are outside. So we want to start in the house, and here's the thing. When we start in the house, we don't want to stop walking our dog. Like, walks are very important, but we need to understand that while we're working through the training process, we should not be expecting perfection on our walks outside of the house, right? Take this time while you're training with your dog, have your walks, enjoy them. Don't like fret over every little thing. Just have some really wonderful, enjoyable walks, unstructured walks while we're working inside of the house, because we really don't want to overwhelm our dogs. We want to set them up for success. So we don't want to ask more of them than we know that they can handle. So one thing I do want to interject here, and I said we were going to talk a little bit about some of the online training that I have. I do cover loose leash walking in the beginner dog training series. That is a link that is also in my link tree. If you are in the Patreon family, you already got all of this information, and hopefully have already been through the beginner dog training series, because you guys have first access to it. It is a completely free online dog training course, positive reinforcement training course that you can do in the comfort of your own home on your timetable. Log in whenever is best for you, and there's I think 19 videos, so it's a lot. It's going to take you through probably at least 4, maybe 6 weeks, depending on how quickly you and your dog work through it. So I definitely recommend you checking that out. I do, like I said, do cover loose leash walking in it. But again, we want to start inside the house, and we want to start small. Like, we want to build up our dog's confidence, because the more we can build our dog's confidence, the better they're going to be able to make better decisions. They're going to be more confident in themselves to make those decisions, which is wonderful. That's what we want. So I do see JR's here. I see that there are a few people here with us, so definitely post in the chat and let me know you're here. There are a lot more people here than I see posting in the chat. I would really love to hear from you. JR says, really cool mic. You look like a podcaster. Well, this is the mic that I am using for the podcast, and I decided to try it on our live today because it's just echoey in here. And guys, I'm working on it. I still need bookcases for this back wall. I need a rug, and I have been looking, and I'm just not finding what I want. So that's why I'm resorting to trying another mic to see if we can get that echo down, because, audio is important, right? So, start training in the house, and what we want to do is start really small. We want to get our dog to sit next to our side and look up at us and reward that. That is the foundation of a loose leash walk. And as our dog gets really good at it, and that's not a normal thing for a dog to do either. So that in itself is going to take some work, and it's going to take some time. Don't get frustrated. Understand that your dog is doing the best they can with the information they have in front of them, but we want them comfortably sitting by our side, facing the same way we are. That's the hard part, because generally when we're working with our dogs, they're facing us. So getting them to face the same way we are, that is what we're really working on first and foremost here with our loose leash walk. Getting them to sit calmly by your side and look up at you and reward that. And that is what we want to get really, really good at off the bat. If we don't get that right at the beginning, then the next levels just aren't going to flow as well. So we want to get that right. And then once we get really good with that, once our dog gets really, and understand that training with our dog is as much as much about us learning as it is about our dog learning, which is why I don't like sending our dogs off to like training camps or boot camps or whatever you want to call them. You and your dog need to be learning these things together. So once we get really good at that, then we want to take a baby step and get our dog to take a baby step up with us and sit again, look up at us, and reward that. So these are the things that we want to do inside of our house, and then we want to be able to take bigger steps and more steps, and our dog to do the same with us. And rewarding, again, I just want to reiterate this because I know I've said it before in other videos, but rewarding isn't always about food. Initially, I do start out with food, but we transition that over time to other things that our dogs like that are still positive reinforcers, like petting, like positive talk, right? Talking to our dogs in a upbeat, positive manner is positive reinforcement for our dogs. Playing. Sometimes, dogs have different toys that they like. Finding that one toy that really gets, like, they really, really love it, that's a reward. Playtime or a specific toy, that's a reward. So work with your dog, find out their reward hierarchy, because every dog is going to be a little bit different, and what they love, and work with what your dog loves, what really gets your dog motivated. And even when we're talking about rewarding with food and treats, there's still a hierarchy there, right? There are some things that your dog is like, yeah, that's okay. Maybe I'll do that if you give me, a piece of chicken, right? But maybe your dog really, really loves beef or a cut up hot dog or whatever it may be. There is a hierarchy to all of these things, and finding out what works best for your dog, and start with the least amount possible that you can give your dog to still get the behavior out of them, but work up when necessary. So, work with your dog in the house, and then dogs are very situational. So when maybe we're starting out in the living room because that's the most comfortable place for us to work with our dog, but dogs are situational. So then once we get good in the living room, we need to take it to the bedroom, or maybe the spare bedroom, or the bathroom, right? If it's big enough for you to work in, because dogs are very situational, and they don't always understand that behavior that they learned in the living room is supposed to transition to another room in the house, to the backyard, to outside anywhere, right? That's why I say we need to start in the home first. So let me check in with you guys. I do see that there are still some people here and you have not commented. I do hope you go ahead and post in the chat. Excuse me. Let me know you're here. I want to know about you and your dog, and why you clicked on this video. So moving outside is often, well, it's always a huge step, but often people feel like when you move outside, you're completely starting over, like your dog doesn't remember anything you have taught them. And that makes a lot of sense because, as I said, dogs are very situational. Also, there are so many distractions outside. Adding distractions a little bit at a time inside the home is helpful to being able to move outside the home. But still, when you move outside, that is a big step. And in a lot of ways, it is true that you almost have to start over, right? Because your dog is, there's so much else going on around you. The really good thing is that if you started inside, like we're talking about today, and you've gotten a really good loose leash walk, and I actually forgot to mention, when we start inside the house, we start without the leash and without the harness. And adding the harness is a progression, right, in the training process. And then once we get really good with your dog having her harness or his harness on and still being able to give the same behavior, then we can go ahead and add to the harness, we can add the leash inside the house. These are progressions that we make in training a really good loose leash walk. So when we move outside, we're not adding all of this stuff at once, right? We're adding little by little by little to help our dog understand that even with all of these changes, we're still expecting the same behavior. So as long as you have gone through this progression inside of your house, even though when you step foot outside the door, your dog may not think that the same behaviors apply, when you start asking for the same behaviors and rewarding that behavior that you are expecting out of your dog, they're going to catch on much, much quicker, because they know, they start realizing that, that thing we were doing inside, she wants me to do that outside too, or he wants me to do that outside too, right? So that's really the progression of training a loose leash walk, and the number one reason that so many people are not getting it right, because you're not starting small enough. We want to set our dogs up for success, and the best way to do that is to start at the ground level, right? And build up their confidence from the bottom up. So let me just check in with you guys again. Again, it is Sunday, and I really appreciate you guys being here live with me. I know there's a lot going on the weekend, so I definitely appreciate you being here with me. I do want to give you the second thing, or the bonus thing, that I wanted to talk about in today's video. And this, again, applies with anything we're training our dogs, but I wanted to hone it in for loose leash walking. So the bonus thing that could be ruining your loose leash walking training is that you have not made yourself the most valuable thing in your dog's environment. Now, I'm not sure if you have heard that before, but one of the keys to training, and honestly having a really great relationship with your dog in general, is that you need to be, I emphasized the wrong word there, you need to be the most valuable thing in your dog's environment. Now, positive reinforcement training is a great way to get there, but I think to really set things over the top, and this is something that I really hone in on in the recall course, which, if you are not on my list, by the way, if you're not on my email list or in the texting family, definitely check out the link tree in my description, because I only put the recall course on sale one time a year, and that's coming up in the fall. And it is by far the most popular course I have ever put together and offered. And I really I give you guys a huge sale on the recall course in the fall. So if you are not already on my list or part of the texting family, definitely join. Check out the link tree in my description, and you can get to the link to join the texting family. Because if you're on the texting list, you're gonna get, I don't know. I feel like if I get a text, I'm gonna act on that a lot quicker than if I get an email. So get on the email list too, that's great. I just find that I get to emails when I can get to them, but I act on a text as quickly as possible. And if you don't act on getting the recall course quickly, you'll miss it. So, and it only goes up for sale once a year, so you definitely don't want to miss it. But I really talk about, because that is, without a doubt, the one skill, the one thing that makes or breaks a good recall is you being the most valuable thing in your dog's environment. And if you get that down, then all of the other training that we talk about, it's just simple obedience, like sits and lay down, or if it's something a little more difficult, like a loose leash walk, like we're talking about today, or to me, the end all be all is that recall, right? If you can't get your dog to come back to you, if they are off leash, that is a problem. So being the most valuable thing in your dog's environment is super key to everything. And If you're already there, wonderful. But if you're watching this video, you're probably not. Let's just be real. So, like I said, positive reinforcement training is really great, but it can help to start to make you more valuable. But to be the most valuable thing, I think we have to kick it up a notch, right? And sometimes a few notches. We really got to kick it up and not be afraid to really get wild and crazy, because that is what is going to engage your dog the best, right? So I've worked with a lot of people and their dogs one-on-one in home training, and there is one person, I definitely will not say their name, but there is one person that really stands out to me as someone who was just not willing. Like, I could barely, I'm standing right next to her and I could barely hear the words that were coming out of her mouth. She did not want to, I don't know, I guess she was embarrassed. I don't know what it was. Maybe she was just a really insanely shy, introverted person. And I'm pretty shy and introverted, but she's probably the most shy and introverted person I have ever met. And I kept trying to get her to engage with her dog, and she's just like I mean, barely doing anything, barely saying anything, barely engaging with her dog at all. And I'm like, we really got to get in here and play with our dog and we really want to make this work. So don't be afraid to act crazy with your dog, because your dog, first off, is not judging you. And if they are judging you, they're thinking you're the best thing since sliced bread, right? So like, interactive play with your dog is going to be one, and specific kinds of interactive play with your dog in combination with those positive rewards are going to really, really, really make you the most valuable thing in your dog's environment. You want to be the source of everything good, and that's how we really bring our training up a notch. So that's really, like, in a nutshell, what I wanted to talk about today. I know I said the one thing and I gave you two, but let's just say the second one is a bonus. And I really think both of these in combination are going to change everything about how you train your dog, and you're really going to see huge changes in how your dog responds to you on an everyday basis, but certainly while training. And your loose leash walking will become so much better and so much easier for your dog to understand as well. So thank you so much for being here with me. I don't want to make this too much longer. We're already 23 minutes in. So just want to really quickly cover, recap what I was telling you earlier. The podcast, the very first podcast, is up and live. Check it out. Check the link tree in the description for all the links. I'm really excited about the podcast, and I hope, I know you're going to love it. Just go and check it out. Click the link, check it out. I really, really want to see you over on Patreon as well, because the family that we are growing on Patreon is amazing, and I don't want you to miss out on all of the extra content, on all of the discussion. I want you there. I want you to participate, and I want you to get the most out of all of the information that I have to give. So yeah, I think those are going to be the two things, or the two big things. These are the two things. I said one thing and I gave you two. Let's again, we'll say the second one is a bonus. So thank you guys again for being here. Don't forget, if you haven't already, give this video a thumbs up. Let YouTube know you liked it. It really helps the algorithm, and especially so that I can help other people, right? Because if you let YouTube know that you like this video, then they can share it with other people and say, hey, you might like this video too, and that's how we get to help more people. And if you're not already subscribed, look down there at that subscribe button. If it's red, I need you to click it and turn it gray. When that happens, a bell will appear. Click the bell, select all notifications. That way YouTube can let you know anytime I go live or anytime I publish a video. Angela's here. Thank you so much for joining us, Angela. I really appreciate you. Appreciate you being here. If you have any questions at all, let me know. I think, Angela, I think you have, I think we've talked through email before, so I think you've got some ways to communicate with me. If you have any questions, let me know. I do also want to give a huge shout out because I didn't mention it in the video. I'm not sure why. You probably noticed that the name of the channel has changed to the Pet Parenting Reset with Jessica L. Fisher, and that's me. I'm Jessica L. Fisher. And the Pet Parenting Reset is the new name of everything, the new name of the podcast and everything. I absolutely loved it as soon as it came out of my husband's mouth. He came up with it. So if you do any business online, if you sell online, if you are a business owner or a marketer, you want to check him out. J.R. Fisher Training is the name of his channel here on YouTube. I definitely want you to look him up. You can just go to the YouTube search bar and type in J.R. Fisher and it'll pop up, but the channel is J.R. Fisher Training. So if you type in the whole thing, I know for a fact you'll get it. But have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, rest of your weekend, and I hope to see you, I hope to see you over on Patreon for sure. Definitely check out all the links though. Yeah, have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you again next week. Bye.